And we are live in 3, 2, 1. Yeah!
I love the gator clap. That's my favorite
Everybody's
part.
already writing in and saying we love the gator clap. And you're not wearing a gator though. You've got a fish.
That's true. This is from Our Coffee Limited in Boonesboro area of Lynchburg, Virginia. Hey everybody, I'm Chuck Rogers. This is my very good friend Keith Dunn, and together we are Tabletop Coffee, where we talk about how to do life by being bold but never ever bitter.
Never ever bitter.
It's hard to do.
Not in life.
Not in life.
No, it is. It's very tough.
But
Stay tuned.
absolutely.
What do we have tonight?
I think we can talk further tonight about what you and I talked about this morning, which is validation. How do you validate and what do you not do
Right.
to validate as well? It's a big word. We think that we're pretty good at it, but actually we're not very good at it at all, especially when the other person is upset, when they're angry, when they're fearful.
Right.
There's something that we can do in order to help soothe the other person, to get them to that better place so that we can have a conversation and maybe even either resolve the problem or solve the problem.
Now, didn't you say you created an acrostic for that?
I have. Actually, I was reading some material ages ago by Dr. David Burns, who's a very, very famous psychiatrist who helps people to overcome negative thinking, but he also helps people to communicate very well. And in some of his material, he came up with an acrostic called EAR, E-A-R. And somewhere along the way, I added H to it, H-E-A-R. So what I do with my clients is I teach them to listen with their hear.
Huh?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's rather cute, isn't it?
It's too darn cute. It was cute enough at ear, but then you add the H, and it's too much fun.
So, you want to learn?
I do.
Okay.
Tell me about how to hear.
All right, so oftentimes I'll have somebody to show up just by themselves and not with a spouse. And sometimes actually you can do more work with one person in the room than you can with two. Sometimes it just depends.
That makes sense.
Yeah. What I do is I teach the person who's there with me to communicate with the other person who's not in the room. Sometimes it's really difficult because the person who's not there oftentimes may be very angry, fearful, maybe even hostile.
Sure.
And so my job is to try to teach the person who is coming the skills necessary to maybe soothe that other person and to validate them so that they stop thinking out of this part of their brain, start thinking out of the better part of their brain, and so that they can believe and know that they've been heard and that they're cared about and that they matter so that some forward movement can possibly take place.
So during this process, when you have this one person in there, even though you're teaching them how to validate, part of the process is you validating them.
Absolutely.
Not only do they learn the process, but they get to see it through the way that you go through validation with them.
Yeah, I've got to be there for them and validate their hurt and their pain and their sadness as well. So they're learning from me what it feels like to have somebody to be there for them.
That makes sense. So when you are dealing with a couple, I understand that you do this with one person, but do you end up breaking up that couple? And that sounds terrible. Not breaking up the couple, but seeing them separately and going through this method with each side, or is it just for
Sometimes. I've
Okay.
done that. I prefer to keep them both in the same room, but sometimes the hostility will be high enough that it's better to see them separately and teach them the skills to come back and use.
And everything is my fault, and my family is awful, and nothing at all is your fault. Because you rock, Joey.
If a guy talked to me like that, I'd punch him in the
So,
face.
yeah, that does happen occasionally as well. Let's say that you come to me and you're saying, Chuck, my wife is X and Y and Z, and you have these concerns or these complaints about your spouse. So what I will then do is, in turn, teach you the skills to validate by using the acrostic hear, H-E-A-R, listen with your hear. So let me explain what the each of those letters stands for. H-E-A-R. I
Okay.
want to start at the bottom, first of all, with R, which means respect. Typically, we think that we're pretty respectful as people, but we're really oftentimes, although well-meaning, not very respectful. And there's two types of respect. There's internal respect and external respect. External respect is the kind that you get when you go into a store or a restaurant, and the waiter or waitress will use good head nods and good gestures and good volume and good voice tone and good word choice and really staying present with you and preferring you externally, which is wonderful.
Would that be opening the door for someone?
Sure.
Same type of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Just really valuing them with external actions.
Sure.
And then being able to value them internally as well, which is not having contempt for them, which we talked about in the dance video. So finding a way to really value them on the inside as well as the outside, because you can't just use good head nods and good gestures only, because out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. The other person will pick up on it because it only takes 1/6 of 1 second for the other person to read your facial structure. So you've really got to value them inside and outside.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
So that's R, respect. So let's go back to the top, H-E-A-R, H. H stands for humility. You're going to sit with open hands, maybe even literally, but emotionally and relationally as well. Sit with open hands and receive the other person's influence without defensiveness. Hard to do.
Yeah.
It's really hard to just receive what they have to say. So that's H. E stands for empathy. Empathy is putting on glasses, their glasses, and looking at the world through them. And you do that by telling them what you heard their head say and telling them what you heard their heart say.
Okay.
Their head are their thoughts. Their heart is their emotions.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yeah. Head might be my wife saying to me, "You didn't take out the trash like you said you were going to." That's head.
Okay.
And her heart would be that she's really angry with me about that.
Oh.
Or sad with me that I didn't take out the trash like I was.
So it's the emotional side.
Yeah. So
Okay.
head is what I didn't do or did do.
Okay.
It's the cognition.
Sure.
And the emotional part is just the feelings that you have. Sad,
Right.
glad, mad, scared, or the like.
Okay.
So you're present for the other person. Tell them what you heard their head say. Tell them what you heard their heart say. Then you add your own heart. Notice I didn't say add your own head. Because if you add your own head, you're adding your own thoughts, you're adding your own opinions, you're making it about you.
So you come back with feeling words not against, but whenever they are presenting to you, you want to also validate with feeling words?
Yes, you tell them, we'll do a role play in just a minute, I'll show you. You tell them what you heard their head say, you tell them what you heard their heart say, then you share your own heart as well, just your emotion. That's it.
Okay.
And then it's an amazing thing what happens. It just kind of disarms the angry person. And if you don't do this and do it this way, it doesn't disarm them, it arms them. And
Right.
then the fight continues.
Okay.
And so your goal by validating them in this way is to soothe the savage beast, so to speak, and be present for them so that they're heard, so that they know they're heard, and so that they know with certainty that they matter.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
So let's do a role play of a situation. Let's make up a situation. And you'll be coming to me as that difficult person in your life, the DP.
Okay, so I'm the difficult person.
Yeah, and you're going to come to me as your spouse. And you're going to... Let's do it wrong to begin with. And then we'll go back and do it correctly.
So I'll just do it normal
Yeah.
the first time.
Right.
And then you'll teach me how to do it the second
Yes.
time.
So what's a situation that would be typical for people? I spend way too much money.
Yeah, money's a good one.
Yeah, that's a great one. Money and sex
Yeah.
and kids. Whew, big topics.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
All three of those.
So you be the difficult person, and I'll be difficult with you, and it won't go anywhere. It'll go somewhere. It goes bad.
Okay.
Okay. So go ahead. I'll be you, and you be the wife in this situation.
Okay. You know, I was going through our credit card bill today, and I noticed that you've been spending a lot of money on lunches lately with friends and everybody else, and I just can't continue down this road of spending like this.
Well, what did I spend?
you you spent money, and it's expensive places too. You went to the Crown Sterling, you went to Isabella's.
Well, I'm not going to eat crap.
Well, I understand that, but
I'm not going to eat fast food, and I'm not going to take my clients
so
to fast food. Is that going to help me? And is
So-
that going to help you?
so do you expect me to just eat crap because we can only afford for you to eat well?
I don't want you to eat crap. It's not healthy for you to eat crap. But because of my job, I have to take care of my clients and take care of them so that they continue to do business with me so that I can bring money to support our family. You
So-
don't want us to not have money.
15 minutes later.
So your clients are more important than I am.
Did I
That's
say
what-
that? Did I say that? Did I say that my clients are more important than you? You know the answer to that.
Well, you feed them good stuff, and I don't get fed good stuff.
I do feed them well so that I can continue to take care of them so that I can take care of you. Now, let's so really rant at me about the and do it for 2 or 3 times as well. Then you'll find yourself being disarmed. So now you're the difficult person. In this case, it's the wife, and not always that way, of course.
Sure.
And I'm going to be the husband, and I'm going to try to soothe you.
So same scenario,
Same
money,
scenario.
same exact
Yeah.
scenario. You know, I was going through our credit card bills the other day,
Yeah.
and I'm just noticing that you are spending so much money on food, on lunches, going out with all of these people. It's just too much. It's
Okay,
more
hold
than
on,
we
let
can
me
take.
make sure that I get you. So you were going through the bills, and you were noticing that I been taking a lot of people out to lunch and spending a great deal of money taking people out to lunch on food. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Well, so tell me more.
I just don't think we have that kind of money to be spending, and at the most expensive places that are in town. It's
Mhm.
not like you're going to, normal places, even like Chili's or Shakers, or I'm not saying that you need to go to McDonald's or take them to Wendy's, but do you have to go to the most expensive places?
Okay. So not only am I spending money, and a lot of money, I'm taking them to just the best that Lynchburg has to offer. And you don't expect me to take them to the cheapest of the cheap, but you're thinking that a more reasonable, modest restaurant would be better choice.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
And you're super angry with me about having done this. You're so mad. You're so upset, and sounds like so afraid as well that I'm hurting our family.
Well,
Is that right?
Yeah, it is. I'm just trying to make sure that
Yeah.
we cover our bills and that we can
Yeah.
still do the things we want to do together.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you are just trying to be really careful, trying to make sure that everything is covered and we get to do the things we want to do. I'm grateful that you would talk with me about it. I am. It's hard to hear. It is. It's hard to hear that you're so angry with me about this, and it's so it feels so sad to me that I've hurt you so, and then I scare you so, and I've made you so mad. I'm grateful that you're talking with me about it. I wouldn't want it any other way, but it does feel sad to me. Anything else you want me to know?
No, I just I wanted you to understand where I was on that. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, your whole point is just to make sure I understand, and I hear your gratitude
Yeah.
in this moment. All right.
Okay. So from
Yeah.
that place, it's still not resolved, and you haven't told me, well, I won't spend at those places.
Right. Now, that's the other part that we didn't put on the whiteboard,
Okay.
which is a T. Listening with your HEART, which means turn on the GPS, which is generating possible solutions.
Oh, that's great. We need to have that.
Now, I did make that part up.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
That's what's needed in that part.
Yeah, so we can go back to that later and just add the T at the bottom, turn on the GPS, which is... So once you have soothed the other person, and once that I am soothed, and people's brains are deflooded, and people have been validated, then and only then can you begin to problem manage or problem solve.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah, because until then, each person, one or both people, might be flooded, and we talked about the video on flooding, thinking out of this other part of your brain. You can't think straight. So you have to soothe. You have to bring a calm to the relationship. And then what you do after that is then you listen with your ear, but you put on a T, listen with your heart. And the T stands for turn on the GPS, which is generating possible solutions. So then after I had soothed you as my spouse, I would say, okay, have I understood where you're coming from? Is there anything else you want me to know about that? And you said, no. I said, well, okay, what I would like to do then is maybe, can we brainstorm as opposed to blamestorm, and come up with a list of ideas about what we can do to move forward so that it doesn't scare you and I'm able to do what I need to do and want to do or think I need to do.
Okay.
So there you are. That's how you listen with your ear.
I love that.
Yeah, it's something that I promise you I could not do my personal life or my professional life without. It's just one of those great things.
I feel like that is true with almost everything that we talk about.
Yeah, I would say so.
Talking about the dance and complain without blame, and flooding, and all of these other topics that we've covered, which if you haven't seen them,
go back and check them out.
Go back and check those videos out because they're all so wonderful, just packed with relational information and how you can communicate better with your spouse. And not only how to communicate better, but gives you an understanding of the thinking process through it as well, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, of course you're a thinker.
I am a thinker.
You think too much.
Probably so. I do think too much. I wish I didn't think so much. We need thinkers.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go. That's my pose.
So that's listen with your ear. So next week, what we'll cover is turning your hear, H-E-A-R, into heart, H-E-A-R-T.
Okay.
So listen with your ear, but then you can listen with your heart.
Okay, and what does the T stand for?
It stands for turn on the GPS.
Okay.
Generating possible solutions. So once you've really listened to the other person, and hopefully they've really listened to you, and you've soothed the other person if they're really upset, and after you have deflooded as well, then you get to the place where each person has 100% understanding, and then and only then can you begin to brainstorm as opposed to blamestorm, to come up with some really great ideas at that point.
Okay, so be sure and check that out. That's coming out in the following week. This will be part 1 of the video series. We'll have part 2 of this video series coming out. Subscribe, click that bell, and you'll be notified of that video when it releases.
And like it.
And like it. Share it with your friends.
Please do.
Till next time.
Thanks, everyone.